Hi friends, welcome to Story Time with Miss Becca. I am Becca and I am the owner of Becca's Book Box, and today I'm going to read to you The Art Lesson by Tomie dePaola. And I am super excited about the books I'm reading to you this week because they are all written and illustrated by Tomie dePaola, who's a very special author and illustrator. He has given us so many books, more than 200. So today we're going to read this book, The Art Lesson, and we are going to think about two things. We are going to think about context clues. So what clues are in the story to tell us more? And also point of view. Who is telling us this story? And you're going to find out something very interesting at the end, so listen carefully. The Art Lesson by Tomie dePaola. So let's first listen to who is telling the story. Tomie knew he wanted to be an artist when he grew up. He drew pictures everywhere he went. It was his favorite thing to do. So who's telling the story? Is Tomie telling the story? No, Tomie's not telling the story. It's what's called a narrator. A narrator is telling the story. So it's someone outside the story is telling us what happened. His friends had favorite things to do too. What's your favorite thing to do? Do you like to draw like Tomie? Do you like to play outside? What is your favorite thing? Let's find out what Tomie's favorite things are. Jack collected all kinds of turtles. Herbie made huge cities in his sandbox. Tomie's best friend, Jeannie, could do cartwheels and stand on her head. But Tomie drew and drew and drew. His twin cousins, who were already grown up, were in art school learning to be real artists. They told him not to copy and to practice, practice, practice. So he did. Tomie put his pictures up on the walls of his half of the bedroom. His mom put them up all around the house. His dad took them to the barber shop where he worked. Tom and Nana, Tomie's Irish grandfather and grandmother, had his pictures in their grocery store. Nana Fall River, his Italian grandmother, put one in a special frame on the table next to the photograph of Aunt Chloe in her wedding dress. Tomie has lots of people to draw pictures for, doesn't he? Once Tomie got a flashlight and a pencil under the covers and drew pictures on his sheets. Don't get any ideas. But when his mom changed the sheets on Monday and found them, she said, "No more drawing on the sheets." His mom and dad were having a new house built, so Tomie drew pictures of what it would look like when it was finished. If you think about it, there are so many things that you could draw pictures of. When the walls were up, one of the carpenters gave Tomie a piece of bright blue chalk. Tomie took the chalk and drew beautiful pictures all over the unfinished walls. But when the painters came, his dad said, "That's it, Tomie. No more drawing on the walls." Tomie couldn't wait to go to kindergarten. His brother Joe told him that there was a real art teacher who came to the school to give art lessons. "When do we have our art lessons, Tomie?" asked the kindergarten teacher. "Oh, you won't have your art lessons until next year," said Miss Bird. "But we are going to paint pictures tomorrow." Tomie loves art so much, doesn't he? So that's a clue. So the little boy in the story is named Tomie and he loves art. So we're going to use these clues to figure out more about this story. It wasn't much fun. The paint was awful and the paper got all wrinkly. Miss Bird made the paint by pouring different colored powders into different jars and mixing them with water. The paint didn't stick to the paper very well, and it cracked. If it was windy when Tommy carried his picture home, the paint blew right off the paper. At least you get more than one piece of paper in kindergarten, his brother Joe said. When the art teacher comes, you only get one piece of paper. Tommy knew that the art teacher came to the school every other Wednesday. He could tell she was an artist because she wore a blue smock over her dress, and she always carried a big box of thick colored chalks. Once, Tommy and Jeannie looked at the drawings that were hung up in the hallway. They were done by the first graders. Your pictures are much better, Jeannie told Tommy. Next year, when we have real art lessons, you'll be the best one. Tommy has a lot of anticipation for what's going to happen in art lessons, doesn't he? I think he has his hopes really high. Tommy could hardly wait. He practiced all summer. Then on his birthday, which was right after school began, his mom and dad gave him a box of 64 Crayola crayons. Regular boxes of crayons had red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, brown, and black. This box had so many other colors: blue, violet, turquoise, red, orange, pink, and even gold, silver, and copper. Class, said Miss Landers, the first grade teacher, next month the art teacher will come to our room. So on Monday, instead of singing, we will practice using our crayons. How do you think Tommy is feeling? I'm thinking that he is feeling so excited. On Monday, Tommy brought his 64 crayons to school. Miss Landers was not pleased. Everyone must use the same crayons, she said. School crayons. School crayons had only the same old 8 colors. As Miss Landers passed them out to the class, she said, "These crayons are school property, so do not break them. Peel off the paper or wear down the points." How am I supposed to practice being an artist with school crayons? Tommy asked Jack and Herbie. That's enough, Tommy, Miss Landers said, and I want you to take those birthday crayons home with you and leave them there. And Joe was right. They only got one piece of paper. Now how do you think Tommy is feeling about art lessons? He's probably feeling a little bit less excited. Finally, the day of the art lesson came. Tommy could hardly sleep that night. The next morning, he hid the box of 64 crayons under his sweater and went off to school. He was ready. The classroom door opened and in walked the art teacher. Miss Landers said, "Class, this is Mrs. Bowers, the art teacher. Patty, who is our paper monitor this week, will give out one piece of paper to each of you. And remember, don't ruin it because it is the only piece you will get. Now, pay attention to Mrs. Bowers." Class, Mrs. Bowers began, because Thanksgiving is not too far away, we will learn to draw a pilgrim man, a pilgrim woman, and a turkey. Watch carefully and copy me. What did Tommy's cousins, who were artists, tell him? Copy? Copy? Tommy knew that real artists didn't copy. This was terrible. This was supposed to be a real art lesson. He folded his arms and just sat there. Now, what's the matter? Miss Landers asked. Tommy looked past her and spoke right to Mrs. Bowers. I'm going to be a real artist when I grow up, and my cousins told me that real artists don't copy. And besides, Miss Landers won't let me use my own 64 Crayola crayons. Well, Mrs. Bowers said, what are we going to do? She turned to Miss Landers and they whispered together. Miss Landers nodded. What do you think they decided? Now, Tommy, Mrs. Bowers said, it wouldn't be fair to let you do something different from the rest of the class. But I have an idea. If you draw the pilgrim man and woman and turkey, and if there's any time left, I'll give you another piece of paper and you can do your own picture with your own crayons. Can you do that? I'll try, Tommy said with a big smile. And he did. And he did. Who did he draw? Mrs. Bowers, the art teacher. And he still does. Let's think about the context clues throughout the story. Who do you think Tommy in the story is? We know that he likes art. We know that he still likes art. Can you peek at some of those illustrations? Do you recognize anyone? I see Stregonona, if you listen to the last story time. Tommy in the story is Tommy DePaula, the author and illustrator. This is his own story. This is a little story about him when he was in kindergarten and first grade. Isn't that so cool? Now you know a little bit more about his life. So when you're reading, I want you to use context clues to figure out a little bit more about the story. See if you can use those clues throughout the story to figure out just a little bit more. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I cannot wait to see you next time.